Hello friends, welcome to Department of Plant Pathology, KDSP Agriculture College Nasik. In earlier lecture, we have seen loose smut of wheat, its causal organism, its life cycle and its management. Now we are going to see another disease of wheat, that is kernel burnt of wheat. Causal organism is Tilletia indica. Its another name is Nivotia indica. Kernel burn itself named because it was discovered in 1931 on wheat crop growing near Karnal region, and it was first observed by Mitra in 1931. That's why its name given, that is kernel burnt of wheat. After that, it has been found all over major wheat growing states of India as well as in Pakistan, Iraq, Mexico and Afghanistan. Kernel burnt of wheat is difficult to identify in the field. Developing wheat kernels are randomly infected and usually only partially converted to fungus, and hence it is known as partial burnt. The disease is not usually noticed until the grain is threshed and partially smutted kernels are exposed. Generally, a few florets per spike are infected by this kernel burn. The diseased seeds usually retain a partial seed coat. The embryo and a part of the endosperm have been converted into the masses of black smutted spores, which emits a fishy smell, and that fishy smell arises due to the presence of trimethylamine. This is the chemical which is emits after the infection by this pathogen, and by smelling such fishy odor we can identify that there is the infection of kernel burnt in the field. The teliospores are dark brown to black in color, ellipsoidal to spherical in shape, with curved spines measuring 22 to 49 micron in diameter and require a long resting period. This teliospore germinate and produce a large number of needle-shaped primary sporidia on the short stout basidium. Later on, sickle-shaped allantoid secondary sporidia are produced, which help in dispersal of this kernel burn. You can see in images there is a blackish color region inside the middle image. There is a development of kernel burn, and on the right side we can see the germinating teliospore, which contains the needle-shaped primary sporidia on a short basidium. Now we will see the disease cycle of this kernel burn. The teliospore in soil germinate by producing primary sporidia. These sporidia become airborne and deposit on leaves of host plants. Under high humid conditions, they produce a secondary crop of secondary sporidia that these are allantoid in shape. If boot emergence stage coincides with drizzle, the secondary sporidia get washed down to the sheets. So in that way, the infection of this teliospore occurs. After that, the sporidia germinate on glumes, as you can see in image. After that, they enter into the epidermal cells to penetrate the ovarial cells. The sporidial germ tube penetrates stomata in rachis, glumes, lemma and palea. The disease progresses systemically to other florets also within an infected spikelets. So adjacent spikelets or adjacent awns were also infected by these infected airheads. The infection mostly starts from the embryonal end and spread along the grain suture. The hyphae grow through the base of glumes into sub-ovarian tissues and enter pericarp through funiculus. Hyphae of this pathogen proliferate, remain restricted to pericarp and produce teliospore terminally. In severe cases, grain is reduced to black shiny sac of teliospore. The embryo and the endosperm are not colonized. The pericarp ruptures during threshing and teliospore deposit in the soil and adhere to the soil surface. so that they can cause the infection to the next season. In that way, this life cycle continues and the infection of this kernel bunt of wheat spread from infected portion to the healthy portion. Moderate temperature, that is 19 to 23 degrees Celsius range, is most favorable for development of this disease. Then high humidity, that is more than 70% humidity, and cloudiness or rainfall during anthesis favors development of this disease, and most of the susceptible varieties got infected to this kernel bunt of wheat. Now, for management of such drastic pathogen, we have to apply all integrated control disease management practices. For that, we have to grow tolerant varieties like WL1562, HD 2281, the resistant sources like wild species of Aegilops and Triticum HD 2329 and HD 29 and HD 20 for breeding program. It should be used. Then follow crop protection at suitable intervals is found effective for controlling this disease. Then intercropping with gram or lentil in somewhat how we can minimize the initial inoculum of this kernel bunt of wheat. The most important point for management of this disease is use of disease-free seed. That means contamination-free seeds should be used for sowing. In later stage, when the disease arises, we should follow spraying with fungicides like propiconazole 0.1% or carbendazim 0.1% or carboxime 0.2%. Such chemical fungicides were found effective for controlling this disease. Before that, the most important point that you must have to remember that seed treatment is a basic principle to avoid the primary infection of such seed-borne and soil-borne diseases. For that, we have to apply hot water treatment as we have seen in loose mud of wheat. The seeds should be soaked in cold water at 4 hours at 20 degrees Celsius and then in hot water at 51 to 52 degrees Celsius for 10 to 11 minutes. After that, the seeds should be air dried in the shade and then we can use it for sowing, so that the mycelium which were present inside the embryo or somewhat on the skin of the seed, they got killed due to this hot water treatment. Similarly, we can also do the seed treatment with chemical fungicides like carboxine, Vitavax, Penlate at the rate of 2 gram per kg seed and propiconazole 0.1%, which were used for seed treatment to reduce the pathogen infectivity. A combination of Vitavax with Thiram is were found effective for controlling such seed-borne diseases, as we have seen in loose mud of wheat, rust of wheat, and in same condition in kernel bunt of wheat. So in that way, we can control this kernel bunt of wheat at primary level if we follow the integrated control disease management practices. Thank you.